Good morning, afternoon. Here we are preparing for federal court. I just want to give y'all a little look-see here. I know I made some videos discussing, your appearance. I'm going to flip this around because I don't know how to flip the camera around and then flip it back. You guys know me. But as you see, I definitely went blazer. There is a button that I could do. I'm probably not. Very high neckline to hide the tattoos, flats because my ankles can't handle heels at my age. But a lot more put together. I smell good, but not overpoweringly, any type of heavy perfume and stuff. But I'm getting ready to go into my plea hearing. And I just wanted to take a minute and, kind of, what the heck is going on here? I'm in a kind of low budget motel because it's what I can afford and it's practical. But I wanted to just kind of briefly go into my thoughts before, I head over to the federal courthouse. Your federal plea hearing will be mostly formality. This will be a whole lot of yes, Your Honor, no, Your Honor, mostly yes, Your Honor questions from the judge. This will be a lot of, do you understand your charges? He'll read your charges. Did you sign your plea deal willfully? Interestingly, the judge will ask you, have you been offered anything in exchange for pleading guilty? And your plea deal is literally an offer of something to get for you to agree to plead guilty. It's actually not the offer of a guaranteed thing, but the offer of a recommendation by the prosecutor. But in spite of those little technicalities, the answer to that question is a definite and affirmative no, Your Honor. If you say yes, Your Honor, you just complicated the crap out of your case and probably threw your plea deal out the window. So have you been coerced or offered anything? No, Your Honor. It's really interesting to me, some of the formalities within the legal system that are just kind of, maybe some of them are a little kind of outdated to me, and some of them are just kind of a little, I understand that they're, just formalities. A lot of things are formalities, we're dealing with the courts. But it's just kind of odd to me, some of them, quite frankly. Oh, and if you're wondering, I don't have any notes today, but I'm going to flip you around. That is a parking garage behind the Civic Center in Charleston, West Virginia, which is where I'm at. And I'll probably, I'm about 4 blocks from a river. I think it's the Kanawha. Fairly scenic. Definitely, if I have a little bit of time after this to go kind of catch my breath and clear my mind, I'll go walk by the river a little bit before heading over to the courthouse, which is, a few blocks away. I know for me, I know that it's most likely I'll get pre-sentence release because the probation department recommended that, and the kind of mini, PSR for the judge to make decisions off of today regarding that. And I know that after court I need to go pay my assessment fee. And then I don't know if the judge is going to want me to, the mini PSR recommended that I be on supervision while in pre-sentence release. So I don't know if the judge is going to want me to report to the federal probation department in my town, an hour and a half away, or do the big preliminary stuff like fingerprinting and pictures and medical paperwork and stuff for the probation department today before I leave the Capitol. I don't really know what to expect as far as that goes. I think for me, the most overwhelming aspect of the plea hearing is a judge can always schedule later for your hearings. He can always schedule, that you have your hearings at a later date, or a lot of judges just, they just let other people handle their scheduling, So you go to your hearing, let's say your plea hearing. You don't necessarily know when your sentencing hearing is going to be until your lawyer tells you or you get something in the mail or whatever. This judge, from what I've been seeing online about him lately, and yes, try to get to know what you can about your judge. It goes back to the whole thing I said about, cover your tattoos, because you don't know if your judge is okay with that or if your judge feels very strongly against it. The more you understand who your judge is as an individual, I think the more fluidly you can interact with them. And that's the same with anyone, with your neighbors, with your friends. Not to say that I view a federal judge in the same casual manner as those people, but you know what I mean, with your doctor. I know what country my doctor's from. I know a little bit about her country, which I knew before I met her. And, and we have some fun conversations and interactions. And it's because, I'm able to understand her as a human being outside of her professional capacity. So anyway, which is always a good thing to do with folks. But so this judge has been setting up people's sentencing hearings during, at the end of their plea hearing. And he's been scheduling people into August. This is June. This is about the 10th of June currently. So there's a good chance that like 2 months from now, I'll have 2 months, June to July, July to August. Yeah, 2 months before my sentencing hearing. And the reason why knowing my sentencing hearing date is so pivotal for me personally is because that date, I need to have my home pretty much moved out and ready for me to not potentially come back. Ready for the keys to be handed over to the landlord. By that date, I need to do the best I can to try to help my 4-year-old son, whose father will inevitably keep him from me and my entire family while I'm incarcerated, because that's what I'm dealing with. I don't really want to get into it. But I need to give my 4-year-old son as much closure as possible in this situation and try to find a way to explain to him that I love him and I'm not choosing to not be with him. And I will think about him and miss him every day. And that it may be 2, 3, 4 birthdays or holidays or his favorite's Halloween, before he sees me again. But that I will always come back for him. And just hope that, in a couple years when he's a little older and he can process this better, that at that point he remembers me saying some of these things and they give him comfort. So, for me, knowing that at my sentencing hearing, it's about a 50% chance that I'm just going to be taken into custody at that point. And then kind of shuffled around until I get to my prison. And it's a 50% chance that at my sentencing hearing, the judge will allow me to be a self-surrender, which is not something me or anyone is entitled to under any conditions, but really kind of a mercy from the judge. And if I get to be a self-surrender, that will allow me, of course, a little time to help get things more in order for my children and my parents. And I'll be, transporting myself to my prison on the given date and time they give me, and I'll know exactly where I'm going, and I'll know my inmate number ahead of time, which is good because you want to give that to friends and family. Nobody can write you a letter, put money on your books, do pretty much anything. Go online, whatever, and look and see where you're at without your inmate number. So that's really a vital piece of information to have and be able to relay to your people. And of course, in the free world, you're much more capable. It's much easier for you to relay info than it will be from prison. But just knowing that sentencing date is a countdown, pretty much, from, when they give me the date, from every second from there till then, is a countdown of when I have to be just ready, and my people as ready as they can be for me to go to prison. And it's really an overwhelming concept to me. I mean, granted, I appreciate the idea of pre-sentence release, and I appreciate the idea of knowing the date. It's kind of like the thing people used to say, if you could know when you're going to die, would you want to know down to the second, or just not know? And I was always I want to know kind of person, and that's because I'm pretty organized, and I'm a super prepper. I tend to be prepared for a little bit of everything. I'm like a Boy Scout in some ways, but knowing doesn't mean that things are easier. In fact, things from a mental, emotional perspective can be more difficult when you know to foresee them, and there are going to be difficulties. But I prefer to know. As much as it's bittersweet, I prefer. So I think I'm going to make a short video when I come out of my plea hearing here in a couple hours. And I'll update you guys on the outcome and what's going on. But I just want to make this video of my thoughts, going into my plea hearing. And remind you guys to dress appropriately, be prepared, have a good attitude. And, wish me luck. And I'll get back with you guys as soon as I come out the other side of this, okay? So, good day. God bless.